Super Paper Mario is a game that came out almost 18 years ago at the time of this video. At the time of its release, the game was harshly criticized for being a deviation from the Paper Mario formula, leaning into a platformer RPG rather than the turn-based combat system taken from previous Mario RPGs, Mario and the Seven Stars, Paper Mario 64, and Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door. Even to this day, it can be labeled as the black sheep of the Paper Mario series. Many people dislike this game due to the many changes they made from the elements they came to know and love in a Paper Mario game. But there's one thing that separates this game from its predecessors. Not a design change, but a writing change. This game took everything they'd put into their combat and focused instead on the story. Join me on this journey as we take a look at how Nintendo turned this series into something beyond itself. Super Paper Mario opens differently from the ones that came before it. Compared to Paper Mario, which starts with a beatdown and a fall from space, or a Thousand Year Door, where Peach disappears and you get attacked by this guy, who is definitely not Wario in disguise, this one opens with a wedding. Specifically, Bowser and Peach's wedding, surrounded by all of their closest friends. For the audience, it's not quite clear how this has come to be, but we are introduced to the main villain of our story, Count Bleck. Bleck is the officiant of this wedding, and Peach is rightfully upset about marrying Bowser without consent, but is quickly forced into doing so by second-in-command Nastasia. By forcing Peach under command, a union between a ferocious beast and a fair and lovely princess is made, as written in the Dark Prognosticus, causing the Chaos Heart to be unleashed. Luigi, who is also somehow at the wedding, witnesses the Chaos Heart emerge from the altar and decides that he is going to put a stop to this, and come to the rescue. This rescue attempt leads to nothing as the Chaos Heart and Count Bleck begin their plan to consume all worlds. The Dark Prognosticus is the leading point behind all of Count Bleck's doings. It is a book of prophecies written by an unknown author that we will go over as they come up. The first of the prophecies we just witnessed is the marriage between Peach and Bowser, to set everything in motion that the book foretells. Once we make our file and actually start the game, it opens as every other Paper Mario game has. At Mario and Luigi's house, all peaceful. All is broken once a toad comes up to say Peach has been kidnapped and the castle raided. Mario and Luigi believe it to be Bowser, the Koopa responsible for many past kidnappings, so they make their way to Bowser's castle. There, Bowser is making preparations to begin his raid to kidnap Peach. He was not the one behind this, and Bowser's confused by the Mario Brothers already showing up at his castle. That is when Count Bleck makes his return, or I guess in this case his debut, as what unfolds is the precursor to the wedding we just saw. Bleck makes known his intent to destroy all worlds, and he needs Princess Peach and Bowser to do so, and so sucks every last person at Bowser's castle except for Mario, since he's such a weakling for even attempting to stop Bleck. Mario wakes up sometime later to a talking butterfly who introduces themselves as Tippy, and she is known as a Pixel. She has come for Mario and explains the wedding we saw as the beginning of Bleck's plans. She then kidnaps Mario and takes him to Flipside, a place between dimensions, as this bearded man named Merlin so graciously explains. Merlin studies the Light Prognosticus, the counter book to the Dark Prognosticus. We can see in the background what was caused by Bowser and Peach's wedding, a dark and empty void starting to grow. This void will slowly continue to grow until it has consumed all worlds. This can only be stopped by gathering the 8 pure hearts scattered across the different worlds and using them to stop the Chaos Heart. Yay! Lucky for us, Merlin has the first one, and we just need to put it in a heart pillar to show us the way to the next one. Fun fact, you can actually decline Merlin and forgo the entire quest, which ends up in a game over. I just think it's funny that you can refuse to be a part of the story and just doom everybody in the story. But if you accept, Merlin will give you the pure heart and you can be on your way to finding that heart pillar. Now, since this is a video about the story, I'll be skipping many aspects of the game to get to the point. If you want to enjoy the entire package, I urge you to go play the game in its entirety beforehand. It's not very long and has many fun moments and quips that I won't cover here, so just go play the game. Once we place the pure heart, a red door appears on the flip side pillar, and away we go. Once we enter the door, we're met with a cutscene of Bleck and his minions first discussing their plan once all worlds are destroyed. They aim to create a perfect world, one without war or other icky stuff. Here we get to meet our cast of villains. O-Chunks is all brawn and no brain. Dimentio, who according to the wiki is a magician, and Mimi, who is a shapeshifter that can copy into a perfect replica of anyone. We also meet Nastasia, who is second command to Count Bleck, and who also informs Bleck of Mario's beginning adventure to stop him. Ochunks is eager and ready to show his stuff, and so Count Bleck sends him to put a stop to Mario, and we get to return back to Mario in Chapter 1. Nothing really of note happens once we begin our journey until we make our way to the end of the path at a house and meet Bustovius, who gives us the ability to flip into 3D with Mario. We then continue to make our way to the next town, picking up a new pixel named Throw, who can grab and throw things. We continue through the sands, where Ochunks makes a surprise entrance. He plans to give us the chunking of our life. After a quick chunking of our own, Ochunks falls and blasts off till next time. This takes us along to the finale of the chapter with a meeting with an ancient tech dragon named Fractal. His purpose is to defend the Pure Heart from intruders and is ready to let us pass before Dimentio shows up. Dimentio believes we deserve a boss fight for this Pure Heart and crashes out Fractal, making him aggressive towards Mario. This cutscene of a boss fight ends with using Throw to chuck his fleas, or whatever these are supposed to be, and ending Fractal's life in a devastating fashion. I mean, nothing is left whatsoever. This does, however, open the way forward, and we get to meet our second ancient, Merlumina. And we get to meet our second ancient, Merlumina. She has waited 1500 years since the split of the Purity Heart to give her peace to Mario. She also provides us with a little bit of information on the Duo Prognosticus. The Dark version was written ages ago from an unknown author, spelling out the end of all worlds at the end of it. And so this ancient civilization of people worked to create the Purity Heart and split them for safekeeping. She also hints at a fact that it is not a guaranteed plan to work. They only hope that this will stop the Dark Prognosticus, as the Light version was written in response to the Dark Prognosticus, in order to try and counteract and stop the events that take place in the Dark Prognosticus. Whichever comes to be true is dependent on us, the heroes. And so we take our second Pure Heart and continue on our way back to Flipside and find our next Heart Pillar. After each chapter, we are met with a chance to peek at what Count Bleck and his crew are up to. Count Bleck and Nastasia discuss Ochunks' failure and realize that Mario may be more of a threat than they initially thought. They figured out where Mario will go next and have sent Mimi to stop us. Nastasia mentions some of Bowser's minions are resisting assimilation and heads out to correct this issue. We then move to Peach, who last we saw was getting married, waking up in Bleck's castle, unsure of how she got there. She teams up with some of Bowser's minions to try and escape while avoiding brainwashing. After making their way through a bit of the castle, they come upon a dead end. We get to witness Nastasia brainwashing the Koopa, and just before she can turn Peach as well, some mysterious force teleports her away. We'll get answers on that later. Before we go back to Mario and Flipside, we do get some dialogue from some mysterious people, one a human and another from the Tribe of Darkness. This is the day that they first met, when the human helped the other after a fall from a cliff. This is the start of our tragedy. These little interlude pieces of the past will be very important to the overall narrative as we progress through the story. For now, all you need to know is that this is a conversation between two important characters meeting for the first time. We make our way back to Flipside and chat with Merlin real quick. He enlightens us with the fact that Merlumina is the one that wrote the Light Prognosticus to counter the Dark one and also built the town of Flipside. Before we can learn any more, we are interrupted and told a girl has fallen from the sky, and lo and behold, it's Peach. We quickly gather some soup to wake her up and take her back. She catches everyone else up on what we saw earlier, and she decides she's coming with to save the world as well. And so our second hero joins us on our quest. We put the Pure Heart in the Heart Pillar, and to our next location we go. Nothing of note really happens here in the first section, except we do pick up a new pixel named Boomer, and then we arrive at Merlee's mansion. Once inside, we meet their assistant, Mimi. Mimi tells us that Lady Merlee is on the second floor in the farthest room. How nice of Mimi. We make our way to the farthest room because she told us not to go anywhere else, but once we get in the room, there is no Merlee, just a button at the end of the room. Pressing the button makes spikes fall from the ceiling. This is not Merlee at all. Using our magic trick of 3D flipping, we can get on top and find the key to further in the mansion at the top. If you take a detour to the other rooms, you'll find all of them are trapped in some shape or form. This is such a strange way to invite the hero of legend into your mansion. Once we use the key we got on the door with the big guard dog, it frees the dog and it immediately goes after Mimi. Tippy says exactly what everyone is thinking. How strange. But we move on further into the mansion and end up breaking a super valuable vase that also happens to be Mimi's favorite. Mimi tells us we better pay her back with 1 million rubies. There's also no conversion rate either, so we'll have to work our butts off to pay off our debt. Guess we better get working. There's 2 ways to make rubies. You can either jump on the generator or run on the wheel. I did some quick math, and if you got the rubies on the generator with semi-perfect jumps, it would take you approximately 139 hours to get the required amount by working. Or if you used the hamster wheel, it would take about 9 hours, which is way more reasonable. I only bring this up because the first time I actually played this game as a kid, I thought that was how you needed to do it, so I spent a good 3 hours just running on the wheel before thinking there was a better way to do this. And there is. We can use a new Pixel Slim and barter our way to get the code to a safe up top. There we borrow our rubies to pay off our debt. This literally blows Mimi's mind, and we make our way into the basement. Merlee visits us telepathically, and she is very happy to see us there. But she also relays that something evil is chasing her as well before fading away. I wonder who she could be talking about. We press on through the maze-like basement, wandering room to room before finding Merlee herself. She asks some absurd questions, and I just in good faith cannot sign something without reading it, so we refuse. Turns out this Merlee is a fake and was Mimi all along, another follower of Count Black. She had been tricking us the whole time. What a twist. Speaking of twists, this little horror sequence scared me quite a bit as a lad. I'm not a fan of spiders to begin with, and now I have an invincible spider chasing me after transforming from a cute little box lady. That's a no thank you from me. We run for our lives through the maze trying to find Merlee when we find her hiding out inside the ladies' room of the basement. I'm not sure why they put the bathrooms all the way down here, but I guess they needed to go somewhere. Merlee's been hiding out in a stall this entire time. Before we can even get acquainted, Mimi joins us in a scuffle between Merlee and Mimi. How did I want to say this? Merlee and Mimi. Mimi joins us in a scuffle between Merlee and Mimi. Oh my god. Mimi joins us in a scuffle between Merlee and Merlee, causes confusion between the two. How do we figure out who is who? With a game show, of course. We get to ask each Merlee the same 5 questions to determine which is really real. The questions don't matter in the slightest though, as the real Merlee has a fly buzzing around her from being in the stall for an extended period of time. Mimi really gets twisted over this, and our true fight can begin. We give her a squashing a true spider deserves and say goodbye to Mimi for now. With Mimi gone, Merlee can finally give us the pure heart we have been looking for. But Merlee needs to tell us about the light prognosticus first. She explains that another prophecy, the dark prognosticus, can only be beaten by 4 heroes. That is how despair dies, as they have written. So there are 2 more heroes we need beyond Peach and Mario, as well as the pure hearts we've been collecting. After the collection of our 3rd pure heart, we return to Castle Black and peek at what they are up to. Mimi calls in with an, I messed up bruh, and doesn't bother to show up. Since O-Chunks is busy writing a 1,000-page essay on his failings, Count Black is sending Dementio to thwart our heroes instead, and Nastasia leaves to stop some spare minions of Bowser's left over. Black vows that the heroes' efforts are in vain, and that nothing can stop what is coming, same as nothing can ease the tempest that rages in his suffering heart. I like this little nod towards his true intentions as to why he is destroying all worlds. But before we can learn more, we find ourselves playing as Luigi, who has also woken up in a similar place to Peach. He teams up with some Goombas who 100% believe in his skills and abilities as a Mario brother, and just like Peach, they come to a dead end after exploring for a bit. But unlike Peach, no one is there to save him, and what happens to him is a mystery. Before we can go back to Flipside though, we get a bit more dialogue from our mystery people. This time we get to learn that our conversationalists are Lord Blumiere and Lady Timpani. They've come to meet up again after their last encounter and discussing their struggles of meeting. Blumiere's father won't let him leave his castle, so Blumiere is forced to sneak out to see Timpani. And so they finally get to catch up at last, and they continue to chat about each other. After making it back to Flipside, Peach lets Merlin know what we'd heard from Merlee, just before we witness the void overhead growing in size. Just in case you forgot the time crunch we were on to stop the consummation of worlds. I love this idea of a looming threat over you, so even as you have a bit of fun and there's smiles and laughs around, there's still a big hole of dread overhead. It gives this sense of urgency to what you need to do, similar to the dread and fear you can feel with the moon from Majora's Mask, getting closer and closer with each day. But Merlin urges us on, to keep moving forward and bring the light prognosticus to truth. He also mentions that only one person, the man in green, will decide whether the light or dark prognosticus will predict truly. We as the audience can piece together who that probably is, but we will talk about that as it comes up again. But for now, we put our pure heart in the heart pillar and take off for World 3. When we arrive, we see our surroundings are some sort of Minecrafty pixel art world, which as a fan of the pixel art style, is really cool to see. But before we can even take in the sights, Tippy is nabbed by the nerdiest of nerds, Francis, a chameleon who is set on owning and collecting the most valuable pieces of memorabilia the world has to offer, as long as it fits in his hobbies. And he takes off to go see his episode of the Grotus Chronicles before we even have a chance to react. A pixel in the bush named Barry lets us know where to find Francis's castle to rescue Tippy. He tells us to remember each red thing as we continue. A red X, a red fin, and a red wind. So we go on, reaching our first red mark, the X. Blowing it up reveals Bowser has been here the whole time and has been ruling over this barren land. He decides we need to be thrashed for blowing up his castle for the 100th time, but after a quick explosive fight, we put Bowser right back in his place. Bowser explains he has no idea how he got here, but is ready and willing to help Peach, not Mario, to save the world, and so we gather our third hero, Bowser. Not much else of note happens in this chapter. We hit our red fin, we ride our red wind to Francis's castle, and we also had a quick meeting with Dimencio where he sent us to his magic realm where his attack is 256 times as strong. But that means we are also 256 times as strong. Dimencio vows that he'll get us next time. We also get a quick side note that Dimencio may not be all that he seems. He mentions that we need to be strong enough to defeat Bleck, and they need to make sure we are ready. Could Dimencio secretly be on our side? We don't have time to ponder as we make our way into Francis's castle. We need 2 keys to reach Tippy. We rescue a new pixel named Carrie, allowing us to traverse spikes and also move faster. And once we've got our keys, we can make our way into Francis's room. I do want to highlight the decor of the key rooms with fun little Easter eggs and references to the previous Paper Mario games. Though it is weirdly all of the girls from the previous games, Francis is kind of a freak. This is also highlighted by the fact he needs a Nerd to Babe program to talk to the hot babe Peach, something he's never done in his life. This goes on for a while before Peach gets over it and blows the whole system up. Francis gets all nerd about this, but since he's never touched grass in his life, is taken out of the equation swiftly. Tippy is so relieved and happy to see the crew came to rescue her that the pure heart burst out of her herself. This moment of pure joy begins the true test of trust and faith Tippy has in the crew, and so we take our pure heart and head back to Flipside. We view the next steps in Bleck's plan with the minions, that there is something yet to come, as the Dark Prognosticus tells. They opt to send him on us, whoever that may be, and everyone continues on as normal. Nastasia has a moment of vulnerability with the Count, offering that there may still be time to stop the destruction of worlds. Bleck, with his sunk cost fallacy, says they've come too far to stop, but Nastasia is free to leave if she wishes, but she is ready and willing to stay by his side until her game is over. Turns out Dimencio was listening the whole time and is beginning to work on his own projects, whatever that may be. We also get a third conversation between Blumiere and Timpani as well. It seems something has happened between the two of them. Timpani is upset over something that has happened and exclaims that they must part and this is goodbye. There's not a lot of new information here from these characters, other than the fact that they have been seeing each other for some time now, and they have begun to fall in love with each other. It seems this must be forbidden, a bit of Romeo and Juliet story, as Blumiere is from the Dark Tribe, and Timpani is just a human, and they cannot be together. This is their fate. Once we make it back to Flipside, Tippy thanks us once again for saving her, giving her heartfelt gratitude to the trio of heroes now. Merlin makes his appearance, pondering if we've got the next pure heart. As the heroes enlighten Merlin at what happened, he explains further the cause of the pure heart appearing. He explains that Francis's castle may have been home to a few ancients. They must be rolling in their grave right now. and they put a seal on the pure heart, one that could only be broken with a powerful pulse of love and trust. Once we arrived to save Tippy and beat Francis, Tippy was just so overjoyed by seeing us there that she broke the seal on the pure heart. I'm a little offended she didn't trust us before, seeing as she came to us to save the world, but that's neither here nor there. Before we can continue though, the void continues to grow behind us. We don't have much more time to get our next pure hearts, so we do the usual thing, put the pure heart in the pillar and continue to our next location. But before we did that, I had made a stop to finish the Pit of 100 Trials to get the Pixel Dasher, just to speed up getting some of the footage for the game, but I almost had a mishap right at the last fight and would have wasted a couple of hours doing this, but we saved it. We're all good now. Now, unfortunately, there is not a lot of cover of our main story in this chapter. We get a space helmet from a fishbowl, meet a little alien squid named Squirps, and he takes us through space to find the pure heart in his home. It ends at a place called the Woe Zone, which is a maze filled with pigs and worms, and sends you upside down and left and right and all around. Once we make it through to the end, there's a mysterious figure waiting for us. He looks mighty familiar though, and I can't quite place my finger on it. He introduces himself as Mr. L, the fourth minion of Count Bleck, who's just a little full of himself. We give him a little taste of burnt ends, but he's not done with us. He gives us a space battle with his mechanical brother, Brobot. We squirp him up, and Mr. L jumps away till next time. Mr. L will be very important to our story, so it's a shame we really only get to see him for a little bit in this chapter, but we'll get to see more of him later. Squirps has us meet his mother, the queen who hid the pure heart at the back of this maze for the heroes to retrieve, and so we take our fourth pure heart for ourselves. Back with Bleck, the gang is being introduced to our new recruit, Mr. L. He starts off pretty strong, making fun of the other minions and calling them weak sauce. He's off to fix up Brobot after the smashing we pulled a few minutes ago, and Count Bleck starts sharing from the Dark Prognosticus. Though the man in red shall wield formidable powers, one shall stand against him. The man in green shall use the Chaos Heart's power to bring darkness to all. A very interesting line, seeing as we probably know who Mr. L is as the audience. We also know we need a fourth hero, so it seems whoever shall win in the very end is dependent on Mr. L and Luigi and whatever choices he makes in the future. Whether he commits to his villainy or comes to his senses back to his brother's side is yet to be seen. Nastasia mentions that she doesn't believe any of the minions can stand up to Mario and the heroes, and that it may be a lost cause. But Bleck assures that everything is still right on track, and Nastasia reminisces that Count Bleck once used to hold the universe in high esteem and cherish the world that they live in, but no more. Something changed in Bleck, though we don't know exactly what yet, and Nastasia brings it up to Count Bleck as well, who shuts her down immediately. She presses on, saying if only she could have been that girl, things may have been different now. And in one swift motion, Count Bleck shatters any hope a girl could ever have, that she can never live up to this mystery girl. With this little glimpse into their world, we can figure out Bleck's true plan. Bleck wants to rid all worlds to ensure that this girl is truly gone, that she can never come back. Whatever she did really did a number on poor Bleck here, and he's ready to destroy all worlds just to get rid of this girl. Nastasia be crushing hard on Count Bleck though. And we come back to our mystery people, Blumiere and Timpani. Blumiere has asked Timpani to marry him, to run away together where their love can be accepted. Timpani accepts, and together they are going to make their own world, their own life where they can be happy, away from their families who judge them for the places they come from. We still don't know what these conversations have in regards to our story, but they are still important to look over and be aware of as we make our way past the halfway point of the game. Our tale of two lovers running away together shall continue. With our fifth pure heart collected, we make our way back to Flipside. Tippy seems different, happier to say the least. She says that ever since our rescue from Francis, she feels she could stay with Mario forever. Ooh. Before we can learn more about this little crush, Merlin shows up to ask about the pure hearts, and then something happens to Tippy, and she falls to the ground gently. The crew take her back to Merlin's house, where he then explains that the pixel we see here is not her original form. She had been cursed and sent to wander the many dimensions of this world before Merlin found her. To save her life, Merlin turned her into a pixel, so that she may continue with the land of the living. Unfortunately, she had lost her memories, so she did not know where she originally came from, but Merlin believes they didn't meet by chance and is sure there will be answers in the future. But the tremors continue on. The void outside grows larger and larger still, and so we need to put the pure heart in the next heart pillar. Using a new pixel flip we got from chapter 4, we can flip this switch in flip side to take us to a strange room of some of the ancients from Merlin's time. Hitting each switch breaks a seal in the middle, and if we flip to 3D and head to the other side, we can make our way back to flip side. Only it's not flip side. It's a place called flop side. Get it? Flip flop? Anyway, this place is just like flip side, but as you can probably guess, it's completely backwards, and it is also a duller color palette than flip side. I don't know if this is to show the grim pull of the inevitable void behind us pulling even color out of each world. Probably not. They just want to make a distinction between the two hub worlds. But we get to meet a familiar character. Merlin. Nolrum? This place is confusing. Nolrum gives us some riddles about this being a story of two towns, and that everything has a front and a back to it. I'm sure that's important later. Not really. But he points us to the next heart pillar, and that's all we need. We put the heart in the pillar, and away we... Oh wait, Nolrum is here to let us know that Tippy is better and waiting at the top of Flipside Tower. Good thing we were just on our way there. Once up there, we meet up with Merlin and Tippy remarks that she's feeling good, and that it isn't a time for rest. Plus, she wants to stay close to Mario. Ooh. And with the gang all here, we step through our 5th door to the next chapter. Similar to chapter 4, there's not a lot that happens during this chapter that relates to our overall narrative. So here's a quick rundown on what's happening. These caveman-like people, the Kragnons, are being kidnapped by these flower people named Floriosapiens, and we need to help them. While we search for the kidnappees, we get stopped by Ochunks and Dimencio as well, looking for another fight with us. And so we get a rematch with Ochunks, but with some extra help from Dimencio, we give him the old 1-2 fire burst, and Ochunks is down for the count. Or down against the count. Either way, Ochunks was ready to die for the count before Dimencio stops him and convinces him of another plan, and they both blast off. We meet another charming character who's a big-time TV star with the Kragnons, Flint Crackley. He has lost the key to the Florosapiens lair, and is positive it is with one of his crew, but he couldn't possibly do it himself, so we're tasked to do it. We make our way through the cavern, riding minecarts that would make Yuffie hurl. We locate our 2 crew members, finding out Crackley has had the key the whole time, and sneak our way to the lowest level. After exploring for a bit, we located a pixel named Dottie, who helps us sneak into the secret bunker filled with mind-controlled Kragnons. A horrifying sight seen as killing every one of them will lose you points. And then we find Dimencio and Ochunks again, this time with a mind-controlled Ochunks courtesy of Dimencio, making him cabbage now. A super-powered man with no brain power whatsoever. But even a cabbage can be squashed, and we can nab the floral sprout he was sprouting. This allows us to get past the security measures put in place by the Florosapiens. Dimension also makes us stop by again, saying something sinister about our crew. It's coming along nicely, and it might just be just what he needs. Dimension's got something cooking on the side, and we are important to whatever he needs. In any case, we make our way to the leader of the Florosapiens, King Croatius. This is the one who has been kidnapping the Kragnons and turning them into slaves. After freezing to let them go and showing their true colors as a leader and how useful they are to them, we burn the king and flowers down. With the king down, we look to get our pure heart, and but some of the Florosapiens come running in. They give the whole scoop on what has been going down. The Kragnons have been throwing the trash into the river that Floros drink from. The water turned the king crazy, which is why they enslaved the Kragnons to stop the pollution of water. You actually get hints of this early on from the guy throwing the trash in the river. Flint Crackley will do a special to get the Kragnons to stop polluting the water, and everything is back to normal and peaceful. Somehow we're the heroes for killing the king and stopping this, but hey, we'll take it. We get our 5th pure heart and also get a reminder to stop pollution. Otherwise, killer flowers will come after you. Remember to recycle, kids. We did it. Back with Bleck, Ochunks is making a theme song for Count Bleck to motivate the minions after being thrashed by Mario. More like Bowser. Again and again. The minions are starting to get stir crazy as they haven't been able to try and stop us as much as they would like. And that is on the command of Count Bleck. He doesn't want them going out for whatever reason he may have. Nastasia makes her leave and Dimencio pulls some strings. He pulls up with some mind tricks to get the minions to go after Mario and his crew, even with Bleck's orders to stop. Our lovers are back, and this time around, it looks like they at least made it somewhere safe, as they are looking at the stars together. The two have fallen madly in love with each other, and they don't even need to make a wish anymore, as the two of them are all they'll ever need, and they continue to snuggle in each other's arms. With our heroes back in Flipside, Tippy is freaking out a bit as she thought she had heard something, and that she thinks she may have remembered something. This is their first real clue to Tippy's true identity, and that these conversations we've been witnessing have been from her past. Before the crew can get any more information out of Tippy, however, the void behind them grows larger still. So instead of dawdling, we move fast towards the next heart pillar. Merlin stops us to talk about the void as well, pondering that other worlds may have already collapsed. It's also told that the light prognosticus was written to counteract the dark one, so while it may foretell some things, it's not perfect, as it's not a true prophecy like the dark prognosticus. With less and less hope for our heroes, they charge on and continue forward still, not ready to just let all the worlds end. We've seen this before, put the heart in the pillar, and Nolram shows up to tell us some cryptic phrases from the light prognosticus. If we lose to the 100 coming up, all worlds will end, and the purity heart will be lost. Also, we'll just die and how our game ended. And then he just walks off like he didn't just tell us this hopeless and dark prophecy from the part of the prophecy that's in favor of our heroes, the light prognosticus. But on we go, because what else can be done? Failure cannot be an option. Chapter 6 is my favorite chapter in the whole game. This section of the game really hammered home to me how this game really sets itself apart from the other Paper Mario games in the franchise. We are dropped into a Japanese-inspired samurai ring. This place is home to 100 samurai guys sworn to protect the pure heart and test the heroes in a one-on-one duel against all 100 of them. This is not looking good for what Nolram told us earlier, as well as the void being completely massive upon arriving. Samurai Guy himself tells us we must beat each samurai until we can get the pure heart. Since there's no reasoning with him, even with the void in the sky, we start the long fight forward. We begin to smash them one at a time, over and over and over, until we reach the 25th fight. After beating a quarter of them, the void begins to shake and grow violently, and then Count Bleck shows up. Count Bleck is pleased to see that the prophecy is unfolding perfectly and that it is too late for this world. It will soon be swallowed up just like every other world. Tippy cannot stand this any longer and stands up to Count Bleck, asking how he could do something so unspeakable. Bleck's reply stands firm. It is better for each world to be wiped out than remain. For whatever reason he deems is reasonable that these worlds cannot stand, Tippy will not have it. She tells Bleck off, letting him know how horrible and awful he is for just destroying precious life, precious hearts that live on. And Bleck states that the heart is the most worthless thing of all. Nothing could be more worthless. Nothing matters. Except for Timpani. The only thing that matters. And in this moment is when everything starts to click into place for us. Count Bleck knew of Timpani and held her very dear. And Timpani is one of the people we know from the conversations between each chapter. And we just got hint from Tippy that she may be recalling these conversations from earlier. Tippy may just be our one and only Timpani. Even Merlin before stated that Tippy was not originally a pixel. With us knowing Tippy's true identity now, and Tippy also starting to have that realization, there may be a way to get through to Bleck. But now is not that time. Bleck does not know this information that we know, and is dead set on destroying these worlds. He taunts the heroes, wishing them luck on getting the pure heart they could never acquire. The samurai guy, who overheard everything, runs ahead to let King Samur know what is happening, and we are allowed to pass through to reach them as well. We make it to the 26th arena, and Samurai Guy is here to give us the pure heart. Thank God. We open the chest, and of course it is trapped, and it was Mimi here to stop us once again. So we have to burn down the house to kill the spider, but it doesn't matter anymore. Mimi has succeeded in her goal. She has slowed us down enough to prevent us from getting to King Samur. Mimi dips, not wanting to be here when the world collapses. Our heroes run as fast as they can, trying to get to the end before the end of the world, but it is all in vain. The void grows larger and larger, shaking and thrashing about until it finally comes to a standstill. The world crashes and flashes and spins out of control until there is nothing. It's silent. Tippy breaks the silence, thinking about Count Bleck and how she definitely knows him from somewhere, but not sure where still. Her memory is still blank and recovering. After what just happened, our crew is back in Flipside. We look at the door that led us to the Samur Kingdom before, and try the door once again. The sight that greets us is horrifying. The result of Count Bleck's plan if left unchecked. A world with nothing but scraps and remnants of what once lived there. Tibby mentions that she can still feel the pure heart, and so we begin to walk. And walk. And walk. Through this white void of nothing. A walk that gives you time to reflect on what's happening to the world around you. A time to reflect on what is going to happen if you fail your mission. This part of the game always hits me hard. I don't know what it is about this section, but having this walk and being able to physically see what will happen to everything if you can't complete your mission stirs something inside of me. And it makes me sad to see this whole world of promise and heart just fade away. And so you keep on walking, hoping that there is some way to fix this mess. This is the entire footage of Walking Through the Void. It takes this long before we finally come across what we are looking for, the pure heart. But it's not a pure heart we've come to know. It's frozen over and now a stone of what it once was. But before we can grab it, Mr. L makes his presence known and grabs the pure heart for himself. After a little squabble, Mr. L calls in Brobot for his backup. This time, we don't have Scorps to blast him off again, so we have to use our own fuel to light him up. With Brobot defeated, Mr. L drops the pure heart and runs off, his ego hurt after being called weak. And so we get to collect our 7th pure heart, kind of, and take it back to Merlin to figure out what to do about its condition. Mr. L, on the other hand, is not having a good time. After getting beat again, Dementio comes to gloat over his loss as Mr. L opens up a bit about his feelings. But Dementio takes it very seriously and attempts to light him up. Dementio is going on about how getting rid of Mr. L is for the best in his plan, and commits. He traps Mr. L in a magical box. The fear and trembling from Mr. L is very real in this moment. He realizes that this truly might be the end. Don't worry, Dementio says. It won't be so bad. The heroes will soon join him as well. And then lights the box. Ciao, Mr. L. Back at Bleck headquarters, Dementio informs the crew that Mr. L has taken his leave, but Bleck does not seem worried about this. Sacrifices must be made on their way to fulfilling the prophecy. Nastasia also says that Mimi did a bit of meddling herself as well, but Bleck again does not seem pressed about this either. Just that Nastasia should take care of it. Nastasia notices this as well, asking if something had changed. Bleck just tells her to leave him be for the time being. Bleck reflects on the moment before the world was consumed with Tippy. He ponders on if that could have been Timpani, but quickly dismisses the thought. No one would know better than him, and it wouldn't matter either way as nobody can stop what is coming, even himself. Count Bleck has known from the start that what he was setting in motion was going to happen. He was happy to just let each world die, knowing that even if anything changed or happened, he could not stop it. Count Bleck thinking on Timpani can really only mean one thing, that our Count Bleck has been Blumiere this whole time. The other half of the conversations we've been witnessing after each Pure Heart. Blumiere and Timpani had fallen in love and were planning to build a life together, which is why what makes our next conversation so tragic. Blumiere's father did not approve of the love between the two of them, and so got rid of Timpani from this world. We don't truly know what happened to Timpani in that moment, but we can assume that he at the very least believed that she was killed, or worse, killed with no body to hold even if she was gone. Blumiere is devastated by what has been done by his father to the girl that he loved so dear. There's only a few lines to read through in these conversations, but they hold a lot of weight in the tragedy between these two characters. It's a Romeo and Juliet story, a forbidden love between two people, but this only makes this kind of love the strongest of its kind. Neither care where they came from, they just care about each other and the way they make each other feel. We can also interpret that Blumiere does not have a great home life. His father is more than ready to kill a girl just because she's human, even if it's someone close to his son. As well as from some of the early conversations we see from him, he needs to sneak out of his castle to see Timpani, and Timpani has some injuries that may have occurred from his father as well, so there's hints that he can lash out or maybe be abusive as well. All this to say that Blumiere, or Count Bleck, has more layers to him than just destroying all worlds. Back in Flipside, our heroes are speaking with Merlin. They show Merlin the pure heart and explain what happened that caused it to appear like so. Merlin is at a loss as to what to do, as they need all 8 in order to stop Bleck. Tippy even makes a slip asking how they can save him if they can't use the pure heart, and then corrects herself to say everyone. Nobody makes any mention of this, but we know. As they ponder what to do, Dementio makes an appearance. He explains that there's nothing we can do in this world to fix the pure heart, but wants to reward our efforts for trying. The magic box has come up, and just like Mr. L before us, lights the box. Tippy and Merlin are left standing in the wake of the destruction before them, as Mario, Peach, and Bowser have just had their games ended in front of them. Dementio gives his chow, and leaves Tippy and Merlin to grieve over what happened. I mentioned before about this section of the game being my favorite chapter. The amount of grief, loss, and destruction we've experienced in such a short amount of time comes at such a shock to the previous section of the game before it. The game felt lighthearted, fun, and just like our heroes were going on another one of their grand adventures. But now, a world has been torn apart and left a shell of its former glory. We've encountered abuse, tragedy, and death, all in the span of a chapter. This game now holds more weight than ever before, and it's not done telling its story. Mario wakes up in a mysterious new land. A weird new worm-like creature called a Shade explains that we're in a place called the Underwear. Don't laugh. Where people go when their games have ended. Essentially, we are in the afterlife of the Mario universe. He tells us to go talk to Queen Jades to get this sorted out, as Mario believes his game is not over. A short walk through Hell and we meet the Queen of the Underwear. I can call this Hell because the Queen judges all who make their way here, and if you are deemed worthy based on the life you lived, you get to move to the Over There. But the Queen senses a strange energy coming from us and asks if we've brought anything strange. We show her the pure heart we got from the Saber Kingdom, and she realizes we may be someone special. But her phone rings, and a man named Granby says that Loveby is missing. She asks if we can find Loveby in her place, as she cannot leave her post. She takes our pure heart while we look for Loveby, saying she wants to take a look at it. She'll give it back once we bring back Loveby. She also says a man in green fell into the river Styx, and to take a look there as well, and so gives us the key to check it out. It's not like we have anything better to do since we're dead. Taking the detour Queen Jade suggests, we come upon Luigi, cowering in fear. I didn't notice this before until making this video, but there's a familiar theme that plays when we encounter him. I wonder how these characters relate. Luigi is trembling about the last thing he remembers, which is when he got by Nastasia. Since Luigi is also game overed and has nothing better to do, he joins us in our search for Loveby, though he has no idea how he got here. Curious. We keep making our way through the Underwear until we come across Loveby herself, a rude, entitled little brat searching for her prince. She says that only a prince would know her name, but since Queen Jade sent us, we happen to know her name. She runs off to her mother since we apparently can't live up to our expectations, and we make our way back to Queen Jade's, and there is Loveby, safe and sound, but very upset about the false pretenses that we are her princes. She apologizes for being rude, and Queen Jade thanks us by giving us the revitalized pure heart. She explains that since she rules over life and death, she can just fix the heart. She also lets us know that Mario and Luigi are actually not dead, just in the Underwear while still alive. She offers to send us back to the land of the living, and after accepting the deal, are transported back to Flipside at the top of the tower. Along come Merlin and Tippy, relieved and quite happy that Mario is back, along with his brother, who doesn't even get an introduction until back at Merlin's house, where Mario has told them what has happened. Tippy questions if Luigi is our fourth hero, and Merlin gives us more from the light prognosticus. The lines in question retell what we just did in the Underwear, and basically confirm that Luigi is our fourth hero. Tippy is worried about Peach and Bowser, and has us move forward with the heart pillar to try and find them out there. We put the pure heart in the penultimate pillar, and take off towards finding the last pure heart and stop Blumiere. Wait, Blumiere? Tippy's everlasting love is starting to shine through for Count Bleck. The text is wobbling as she says this as well, and you can interpret it in different ways. But I think at this point, she knows that Count Bleck is Blumiere, but doesn't want to reveal this information to the gang yet, for fear of what they might do or say with knowing that she is in love with Count Bleck. She is trying to pass this off as a Freudian slip and quickly moves past it. And with that, we head into the final door on the tower. As it comes into view, the gang quickly realizes that they have made it right back to where they just escaped from, the underwear. To get an explanation, we head to Queen Jade's and explain what we're doing back, and Queen Jade's is taken aback by this, but believes we are telling the truth as we do look the part. She cannot give us any information on the Pure Heart, however, and we will need to speak with Granby of the Over There, and as it happens, Loveby needs to be taken to the Over There as well. Since the Pure Heart is in the Over There, we opt to take Loveby with us to learn about the Pure Heart, and we continue on our way up to the Over There. There is also a monster running amok on the way that we need to be careful of. We run into the monster quite quickly on our way, with some of the underwear soldiers having locked it away. They'll let us through though if we take care of this monster, and with no choice, we barge in ready to take it out. Once inside, we meet with the ferocious and menacing Bowser. He's alive and well, although a little ticked off from being locked away and jumped, and hungry as well. He may be a little hangry. Bowser is happy to see us and then angry to see us in a 180 mood swing, since he thinks we are out to stop what he and Peach has. After we knock some sense into him and explain that we're already in the underwear, so Peach needs to be found, Bowser is more than happy to rejoin the party in the search for Peach. We get our key for besting the beast and keep moving upward. As we've continued, we've run into some talking doors. This isn't a part of the story or anything, but there's a bit where you get to do a classic RPG battle, and I just think it's cool to show off. But we make it out of the underwear and almost make it to the Over There. We bounce on some clouds and keep climbing when we come across Peach. She's eaten the golden fruit, which when eaten makes them fall into a deep sleep for 100 years. The only way to wake them up is with a taboo fruit found somewhere else in the Over There. We locate this fruit and give it to Peach, and she promptly wakes up, apparently to the worst taste imaginable. The gang is all happy to see her safe and sound, and with all four heroes back together, we can make it to the Over There. We come across this fancy cloud who can bounce us all the way there too. We give him a fruit to grow big, and it works just a little too well and bounces us into space before coming back down into the Over There. Once there, it seems the Over There is under attack from monsters and a beast looking for the Pure Heart. We need to gather 3 orbs from the leaders in the Over There to reach Gramps' house with the Pure Heart. Once all collected, they form the Rainbow Bridge so we can find Gramps and stop the beast looking for the Pure Heart as well. But before we can make it, an army of the monsters prepare to attack our heroes, and in a moment of Captain America versus Thanos, it looks like it may be a little hopeless. But one of the leaders comes in from our left to take on the monsters so we can go ahead and save Gramps. Once inside, we find Gramps hurt with the leader Bone Chill with him. He gives his little evil monologue, but also drops a very interesting new twist. He believes that the Pure Heart is Loveby herself, that Granby changed the Pure Heart into a NIMBY, the Over There race to hide it in plain sight. Loveby turns to Gramps for confirmation, but Bone Chill has a bone to pick with us before he can take the Pure Heart for himself. With a little hop, skip, and a jump, we take out Bone Chill ourselves. With Bone Chill out of the way, Gramps and Loveby can have a chance to talk about what Bone Chill had to say. Loveby, rightfully so, wants to know the truth, if Bone Chill was lying or not. Before Gramps can get a word out, Queen Jade shows up as well, worried sick about Loveby not hearing about her safe arrival. With both of her parents present, Loveby demands the truth. Queen Jade confirms that yes, Loveby is in fact the Pure Heart transformed into a NIMBY, to hide from evil and prying hands. At this moment, Loveby's true form begins to emerge. As the heroes are worthy to take the Pure Heart, she's turning back to her other form. Turns out, we really are her prince to sweep her away after all. Loveby has already decided that she will go with, as she understands that the world is at stake and it will all end anyway if she does not go. But she does not go without being her bratty self and telling off both her mother and father about all the times they nagged and parented her wrong. A usual teenager feeling. Gramps and Loveby go at each other as father and daughter, maybe as a coping mechanism for the sadness and grief they are experiencing at this moment. As Queen Jade's, Gramps, and Loveby go at it for a bit longer, the Pure Heart continues to emerge from Loveby, and in the final moment before she turns back, she gives her final thanks and love to her parents in the end. And thus ends the life of Loveby, as the Pure Heart assumes its true form. Gramps makes us vow that we will save the world, so no one else may feel the sadness that these parents feel in this moment. It's hard losing a daughter, even when you knew that eventually you would have to say goodbye. Luigi is not the most sympathetic in this moment, not quite reading the social cues on this one, but they promise to take great care of their daughter, the Pure Heart. And so the final Pure Heart is acquired, but not without sacrifice. As we come back to Bleck and his minions, Bleck is shocked to discover that the heroes are still alive. Both Ochunks and Mimi are prepared to welcome the heroes as they make their way to the castle, as well as Dimentio, but he stops for a moment. Dimentio asks if the name Blumiere rings a bell. He says that the pixel with Mario, Tippy, was saying she must stop Blumiere, over and over. But Dimentio dismisses it and leaves to join Mimi and Ochunks. This is not a coincidence. Dimentio is deliberately putting seeds of doubt in Bleck's mind over his plans, and making him reevaluate if his lover Timpani could really be the Pixel Tippy. Nastasia even brings this up, saying that if it really is her, then all of this needs to stop. She's alive, and Bleck has no reason to destroy all the worlds if she is still in them. But Bleck still says that there is no way to stop the prophecy from unfolding. What's been done will pass, as it says. Nastasia, still holding hope for the man she cares for, yells for him in a cry of desperation, yelling for Lord Blumiere, the man she once followed, rather than this Count Bleck he personifies. Bleck has taken over for Blumiere. Blumiere died a long time ago, replaced by Bleck to fulfill the Dark Prognosticus's prophecy. And with that, Count Bleck invites the heroes to come and stop him, if that's what they must do. Our final chapter texts are the moment Blumiere became the Bleck we know now. After the loss of Timpani at the hands of his father, Blumiere could not stand to live in this world any longer. He did the only thing he could think of in his grief and sorrow, to turn to dark magic in hope that there may be answers, even if it killed him as well. But what happens instead is it turned him into a slave for the Dark Prognosticus. The first orders it has for him, to erase this world, and so Blumiere, turned to Count Bleck, begins his descent to villainy. It's hard to infer whether the first command was to erase every inch of his homeworld before moving on to all other worlds, or if this is just the beginning before Bowser and Peach's wedding. Either way, it's a horrifying thing to imagine for someone, after they have lost the most important person in their entire world, to descend so far into sorrow that you must destroy everyone else around you to fill that hole. It's what makes Count Bleck such an interesting villain to me. He's bent on destroying the worlds, not because he wants to, but because he's being controlled to do so, after he didn't have a proper way to grieve for the woman he loved. It's not a villain origin story, it's a love story gone awry. For a while I thought that Tippy was recovering memories she had with Blumiere after each chapter, that each Pure Heart was unlocking sections of her memories, and that she was slowly uncovering the past she once had. The memories, however, disprove this theory. Tippy was not a part of the conversation at all, yet when we come back to the main cast, Tippy is distraught over what she just heard. I don't really have an explanation for this. Peach herself even asks if she was remembering something, but it's not her memory. The only real explanation is that Tippy was either there when she shouldn't have, as she was banished between dimensions, or the Pure Heart itself is providing these memories for Tippy. Either way, we got to see a glimpse of how Count Bleck became Bleck himself, and the terror that brought him to this moment. Tippy encourages our gang to go back to Merlin with the final Pure Heart. After a back and forth about how they need to move quickly, Tippy asks Merlin about the Light Prognosticus prophecy. She asks if they truly need to destroy Count Bleck for all worlds to be saved. Merlin essentially confirms that we must, as since he started this whole mess and the dark prophecy is tied to him, that defeating him will unravel the Dark Prognosticus prophecy. The gang once again questions her. As to everyone else, she has been acting very strange about Count Bleck recently. She still denies to the group that anything happened between the two of them. I find it strange that Tippy would not reveal to the heroes that she and Count Bleck used to be in love at one point, but I also understand that telling them does not change much. It just makes it harder for them to do what they need to do to save all worlds. It's easier that they don't know, and Tippy can live with what happens when the time comes. Merlin sends us off to find our last heart pillar, and with the final Pure Heart in place, the door to Count Bleck's castle is now open. Nolram greets us at the door to give us one final send-off before the final showdown. We are also joined by Merlin, with a bit of a pep talk from the Light Prognosticus. Only those who have not abandoned hope can turn back the prophecy of doom. They walk forward in the future, no matter how dark and uncertain it may be. A quote that directly counteracts Count Bleck's point of view on starting this whole mess. Count Bleck had abandoned all hope of a bright future without Timpani and refused to move forward. This is what makes our heroes and Count Bleck opposites, our light and dark, hope of a brighter future instead of just destroying everything around you. Merlin asks Tippy one last time if she is sure she can do this. Merlin seems to know what is going on in this moment, his hesitation in his face as he asks, but he believes Tippy and that she can do this, and that she will when the time comes. He asks for one favor, that she returns home in one piece for him. Tippy promises, and so as the void continues to shake and grow behind them, the heroes take their step forward through the final door. The heroes arrive at a massive castle in the void, Count Bleck's castle, although Tippy may say it's Blumiere's castle. Our heroes make their way through before they're met with the first roadblock. O-Chunks is blocking the way forward. O-Chunks is ready to go full force on the heroes, and Bowser is ready to take him on himself to prove he is the better of the two of them. O-Chunks does actually go full force and grows a few feet, but the bigger they are, the bigger they burn, and so O-Chunks goes down. With O-Chunks down, he asks that Bowser make it swift, but before he can do so, the ceiling starts to fall on them, and fast. In the blink of an eye, the ceiling collapses and our heroes are saved by O-Chunks himself. O-Chunks says we've earned our passage by beating him, and so we can make our way through. But stubborn Bowser can't be outstrengthed by this hairy buffoon, and so helps O-Chunks with the ceiling as well, urging them to take the princess to safety. The three of them make their escape, and both O-Chunks and Bowser are too stubborn to leave, both believing themselves to be the stronger of the two. When we cut to the three outside of their room, we hear the collapse of the ceiling in the room with Bowser and O-Chunks, and the door is now jammed. There's no saving Bowser this time, and we are forced to move on without Bowser. They still believe that Bowser is alive, as he is very hard to get rid of, but for now, we can only assume the worst based on the situation we left him in. As our heroes continue on, the tremors continue from the voids, even here at Count Bleck's castle. Given what our heroes know about Count Bleck, they don't understand Bleck's mentality behind destroying all worlds, questioning why he would destroy even his own world. This confirms for Tippy, however, who Count Bleck really is. She is confident now more than ever that this is the man she fell in love with ages ago. They keep moving forward until they run into Merlin, who says that the light prognosticus says to hit the switch above them. How they haven't figured out who this could possibly be is beyond me, but hitting the switch sends us down into jail, and Mimi revealing it to be her. Surprise! After escaping, she tries to pull another fast one on us, but we know her tricks at this point, and can select all of the good items we put in front of us instead of having to fight monsters in the coming rooms. Mimi gets very upset when you do this though, calling us dirty liars. Peach and Mimi get into a tiffy over all of this, and Peach decides she is going to show Mimi how dirty a princess can get. Mimi goes all super spider on us once again, but Peach gives her the 1-2 stomp and thwarts Mimi once again. The tremors start up again, and so they need to keep moving forward if they ever want to make it to Count Bleck before the world is destroyed. The Mario Brothers move on ahead, but Peach turns to urge Mimi to leave, that she can't stay here and to find someplace safe. But then the tremors begin again, and the door is locked behind the Mario Brothers. It so happens that these tremors were in fact the floor caving out from below Mimi, and Peach leapt into action to save Mimi from falling. Peach is hanging on for dear life, and Mimi questions why Peach would even think to help her. Peach says that even if she has been bad, people still deserve to be helped in a time of need. And in this last moment of heroics from Peach, she struggles to bring Mimi up before more tremors cause both Mimi and Peach to fall. With both the Mario Brothers unaware of what has happened on the other side of the door, they have no other choice than to keep moving forward, even without Peach as well. They are running out of time, and so they carry on, with two of their comrades now falling behind on the way to Count Bleck. Moving on, it's only natural that we run into Count Bleck's last minion on the way to stop him, and so Dimentio makes his appearance. Instead of a fight, he asks us to chase him down instead, in a game of childish tag, and so we give chase, going through a section of each previous chapter we have been in. Once we finally chase him back to Count Bleck's castle, Dimentio asks a favor of us. He wants us to destroy Count Bleck, a strange request for someone who has been doing his bidding since the beginning. We know from past experiences that he has been a little strange with some of his actions in the game, and never been quite so honest with everyone and anyone, but it is a strange request all the same. Dimencio says it's because Count Bleck lied about his plans. He was going to make a new perfect world once all the others were destroyed, but actually just plans on destroying all worlds and nothing else. Just leave them in ruin. Dimencio says that this has been his plan all along, to help the heroes reach Count Bleck in their goal, to have someone to destroy Count Bleck when the time came, as he could not do it himself. He was feigning loyalty while helping us, and so he offers his request to return the favor and join with him and destroy Count Bleck. But this is still a minion of Count Bleck. We can beat him on our own. We don't need Dimencio. We pass on his request as there is no trust between these characters, and that's when bribing begins, and offers of grand power to be had by helping him. And that's when we know that we cannot trust him, and Luigi is ready to put Dimencio down. He yells for Mario to keep moving forward, and so Luigi is left alone with Dimencio for another final showdown. Using his head, Dimencio finally has to call for mercy, but instead of a sacrifice play like Peach and Bowser, Luigi does not get this opportunity. Dimencio instead goes for a murder-suicide on both of them. And with a flick of a wrist, they both perish in the same way our other heroes perished before. Mario on the other side of the door can hear the explosions, but once again the door is locked and they cannot go back to save his brother. They must continue on, otherwise each one of their sacrifices would have been in vain. Tippy has the gall to bring up that they are the only ones left, that each of Mario's friends have all had to sacrifice themselves to keep moving forward. But Mario believes that they are all alive, and gives Tippy some hope. Mario, the ever-optimist. As we take our last steps, we encounter Count Bleck's room. Bleck welcomes us, truly believing we are the heroes spoken of in the Light Prognosticus, but we are too late. All worlds are about to collapse any moment, and Bleck invites us to stay and watch the final spectacle. Tippy, desperate for answers from her love, asks why he is doing this. Truly doing this. How could he even conceive of doing this? And Count Bleck replies that all worlds are meaningless. He does not care about any of them, and that it's just better that they are all gone. But Tippy knows he is wrong, wondering if their meeting way back then as Timpani and Blumiere was meaningless to him. And it seems they both know who each other are at this moment, accepting that they are both alive and well in the flesh. As Count Bleck avoids the question, but also answers it at the same time, that he does not believe their meeting was meaningless. We as an audience know that it was everything to him, the reason they are in the situation they are in now, because she cared too much to him, but it is too late. Count Bleck knows he cannot stop what is happening, even if he wanted to. So Tippy vows that they must destroy him then, to stop all worlds from collapsing. Both Mario and Count Bleck are ready to give it their all, as Master of the Dark Prognosticus and the hero of the Light Prognosticus. And so the fight to decide all worlds begins. Though as Mario tries to fight Count Bleck, all of his attacks bounce off. He is unable to wound Count Bleck at all. And just when they feel they have failed, a voice appears from off-screen. Bowser is alive, and is giving Mario slack for giving up, when he would never do so against Bowser. Count Bleck is also stunned, as Peach and Luigi also appear to help fight as well. It turns out that Bowser was so determined to keep up the ceiling that he fell through the floor with his weight before getting crushed, and Peach ended up falling onto Bowser to cushion her landing. Luigi, on the other hand, doesn't know what happened to him, just that he was out cold when he was found. A little suspicious, knowing he was blown to the underwear as before, but maybe Dimencio was telling the truth with helping us after all. Either way, we now have all of our heroes to stop Count Bleck, and they are ready to fight. This unification is spoken of in the Prognosticus, and the pure hearts break the barrier holding off Count Bleck, as all foretold in both dark and light prophecies. And so now, with Count Bleck vulnerable, our heroes can now take to defeating Count Bleck once and for all. And with one final butt slam from Bowser, Count Bleck is down for the count. Count Bleck congratulates us on our victory, and he asks for his final end quickly before the worlds are destroyed. Timpani, desperate for answers before his end, asks why it has to end like this, and Blumiere tells our heroes what the audience has known, that he was so stricken with her loss that he searched everywhere for her for so long, and he could not find her, no matter how hard or long he searched. In the end, he determined that she must be gone, So he used the Dark Prognosticus to destroy everything that had taken her from him, that all worlds were meaningless if she was not in them. Now, knowing that she is alive, he is ready to die for the greater good of all worlds. The knowledge that she is alive and can continue to live after he is gone is enough for him to accept what must be done. He wants to atone for the evils and sins he has committed since losing her. Timpani cannot accept this, as they were finally reunited after all of this time. But before anyone can make a move, a magic orb flies at the Count, and Nastasia jumps in front to take the bullet for the Count. Dimencio makes his appearance once again, so whatever he did to himself and Luigi was not to take both of them out. It turns out that this was Dimencio's plan all along. He knew he could not beat the Count himself, and he truly was helping us get the Pure Hearts, but not out of a care for the worlds that were being destroyed, but so he in turn could take the Chaos Heart for himself once the Count was out of the picture. And with him taking control of the Chaos Heart, destroying Blumiere will achieve nothing, as there is still someone with control of the Chaos Heart. And for his final reveal, it turns out that Mr. L has been Luigi this whole time, and he brings him back into the picture with a seed he implanted in Luigi when they fought just before Count Black. Who could have known that Luigi was Mr. L the whole time? And so with the power of the Chaos Heart and his control over Luigi, he vows to bring about the greatest magic show the world has ever seen. Since Luigi's will is much weaker than the heroes around him, but with the powers of said hero, it makes him an ideal candidate for the Chaos Heart. And with Dimencio controlling Luigi, his powers grow exponentially. Dimencio and Luigi combine their powers to make Super Dimencio. That is the official name for this boss. The head of Luigi and the body of Dimencio. They will use the powers of the Chaos Heart to follow through on the plan Black originally said he would, destroying these worlds to create perfect new ones in his image. With Black and his gang out of the picture, it is up to just the heroes once again to stop this monstrosity. But it turns out, as with Black before, that they are invincible without the power of the Pure Hearts. And with so much time wasted on fighting Count Black, we are forced to watch as the worlds we once knew and saved before are sucked into the void and destroyed, just as the Samur Kingdom did before. Tippy and Count Black are found inside of the magic dimension Dimencio created to fight the heroes. They argue over what can be done to stop the Chaos Heart, as Count Black knows that nothing can be done without the Pure Hearts. But Tippy believes otherwise. There must be something that can be done. They traveled across dimensions and space to finally find each other again. It can't end now when they are together again. Because they promised they would be happy together, and they cannot break that promise. Both Mimi and Ochunks agree as well, making their way to the dimension. Nastasia had told them that they might end up here, or had a feeling things might go wrong. They offer up their lives as they did when they first became minions, and are ready to do whatever it takes to stop Dimencio. And after the show of love and compassion they have toward their boss and leader, the Pure Hearts regain their color and power. Tippy quickly takes these hearts to Mario and the others so they have the power to defeat Dimencio after all. And just in their time of need, Tippy makes her appearance to break the barrier around Super Dimencio. As it turns out, Super Dimencio is very flammable, so with a blast of fire from Bowser, Super Dimencio takes his bow. And as it comes down to it, the Dark Prognosticus ends up being the false prophecy all along, with the Light Prognosticus being the true prophecy. But Dimencio, even on his last leg, even when he has no hope of surviving any longer, saved up one final trick up his sleeve. The Chaos Heart continues to persist even after the end of him. Blumiere believes that he must have left an imprint of himself behind, not enough to keep him alive, but enough to ensure that the Chaos Heart will still consume all worlds, letting him have the final laugh. Blumiere has one final plan to stop the Chaos Heart, and takes all of the heroes and minions to the place that this all started. To the altar that Peach and Bowser were married at the beginning of the game. He finally asked Lady Timpani the question I'm sure that has been burning in his heart since he first learned that this pixel was his long-lost love. He turns and asks if she still loves him. After everything he's done, after everything she has witnessed him do, she turns to him with no hesitation. Of course she does. So they take to the altar to stop the Chaos Heart. With the Pure Hearts and true love, they can banish both the Pure Hearts and Chaos Hearts once and for all. But in doing so, it would take the two lovers with them. Blumiere knows that he has not long to live, and is ready to make that sacrifice, but knowing that this would cut both their games short, confirms that Timpani herself is ready to make this choice as well. Timpani confirms that as long as she is with him, nothing else matters. She is ready for this. With not much time left to stop this, They make for the altar with the hearts. At the altar, they can make their vows to each other and admit the mistakes that they made on their journey. Tiffany asks the same question to Blumiere, that they still love each other, that although their life may have been simpler and more carefree without him, that they are all they have thought of since the moment they were separated. With this confession of love, the pure hearts appear and surround the Chaos Heart. For our heroes, church bells ring out for the true love that rings true. The true love that saved the worlds around them and stopped the chaos not only affecting the consummation of worlds, but the consuming void that was inside of Blumiere's heart as well. As the church bells ring, the worlds that were once consumed by the void are returned to their former glory, and the worlds are saved from ever being consumed again. And not only are the recent worlds saved, old worlds once gone are back, as the Sammers return to this life once again. I lied before when I said that the last pieces of text were our final ones, but these words are no longer a mystery of the past. These are the words of hope for the future, of two lovers who have finally found each other again after years of agony, searching, and grief. They can finally find that happy place they've been searching for, together. Back with our heroes once more, we find everyone at the top of Flipside Tower. We get to see the void disappear from above Flipside, proof that the dark prognosticus has been dispelled after all this time. Merlin thanks our heroes for everything that they have done to save everyone on this day, but he realizes that Tippy is missing. Mario explains what happened between Tippy and Count Bleck, and everyone speculates on what could have happened to them. Nastasia knows in her heart that they are alive. They finally came together and gave their vows that were long overdue for each other. Nastasia has faith that they are living happily together, wherever they are. But this means that Nastasia no longer has the Count, the man she ended up falling for, though knowing she could never fill the hole that Timpani left in his heart. Chunks and Mimi back her up, offering to help build the perfect world Blumiere wanted in his heart, a world of love and peace, not war. Merlin agrees that while this goodbye is tough, we all must go through goodbyes in our life. It is full of bittersweet moments, but that's what makes it worth living. Something I'm sure Blumiere is now painfully aware of after everything he did to find Timpani. With this little bit of reflection from the minions and Merlin, he offers up a banquet for everyone after everything they have done for the town, and our gang walks off to enjoy some well-deserved food. But Merlin takes a moment to ponder if Lady Timpani is truly happy after all. Peach truly believes she is. She knows what she wanted even before seeing Blumiere at the castle. She knew that this was the man that she loved, and that this was the man she wanted to be with. As the screen fades to black, we are left to ponder what could have happened to both of them. After the credits roll in the game, we get one final scene to hint about the fate of both Blumiere and Lady Timpani. The game reveals the couple on the top of a hill standing together, and as you sit and watch, the couple slowly makes their way down this hill, both Blumiere and Lady Timpani finally happy and together. Timpani, no longer a pixel, but a human once again, in the arms of her true love, and Blumiere, no longer a man consumed by grief and darkness, but with a heart full of love and happiness to give. A love story that crossed over dimensions and back for them to finally be together once again. If you've made it this far into the video, genuinely I just want to say thank you. This video has taken me a lot longer to put out than I thought. I've been working on it since January of this year when I decided I wanted to make more videos like this. And it's been really long. It's been a long process and I've learned a lot. So I'm happy to have put this one out. I'm hoping to make more videos in the future. So if you want to like and subscribe, that would be great. But yeah, I just want to say thank you. It's been a long journey to get this one out. I'm going to leave you here with an outtake that I took while recording the audio for this video. It's a doozy. I learned that I cannot say certain words during this video, so enjoy. Thank you. Before we can hold, but that's neither here nor there. Before we can continue, before we can I can't say it. Before we can continue any further, though, before we can continue any further, though, before we can continue, before we can continue, any further, though, the void continues to grow behind us. Before we can continue any further, though, the void continues to grow behind us. We don't have much. Before we can continue, though,